Sidhant Sibal joins us from Tashkent to tell us more input. Sidhant, morning. Well, first of all, strategically, tell us how significant is this visit to Uzbekistan. Prime Minister Modi, in fact, has attached a lot of positivity and expectations, at least on his Facebook page, considering the fact that, we've seen his first day itinerary. It's a packed schedule, lots of business on cards, isn't it?
Sure, Sakal, a lot of business on the card and economic ties, but just hours left for Prime Minister Narendra Modi to reach Tashkent, his first stopover in his tour of 5 countries in Central Asia, and of course the big BRICS summit and SCO summit. Let's talk about his immediate agenda here in Uzbekistan. He will of course stay in Uzbekistan for 2 days. He will land here at around 2 o'clock, that's 2:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and today basically the focus will be on bilateral ties, state level, head of the states meet. He will be meeting the Prime Minister at the airport, and of course at 4 p.m. he will go to the presidential premises and of course meet President Islam Karimov, and a lot of talks will happen, bilateral meet about expected to last almost 1 hour, and of course later on there will be a joint press statement and banquet hosted in honor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But tomorrow the focus will be on the Indian diaspora, the community reception here. I'm standing in the hotel where Prime Minister will be staying, and of course there is a place called Amir Taimur Hall named after the famous leader here, Taimur, almost centuries ago. He is famous in India and Iran, of course. He was the great grandfather of Babur, who was the first Mughal emperor in who established the Mughal Empire in northern India. So he will be meeting the Indians here, Indologists and Hindi-speaking people.
Talking about the Diaspora Connect, Sidhant, also considering the fact that there are at least 3,000 Indians there, and the cue that we take from your reports is that in terms of cultural linkages, India and Uzbekistan have been pretty close to each other. You've talked to people there in Uzbekistan, the Indians I mean. How much of expectations do they attach to Prime Minister Modi's this visit to Tashkent, considering the kind of Modi magic we've got to see earlier, whether it was Madison Square, basically his diaspora outreach in the previous international tours has been very, very, significant. Will Prime Minister Modi also strike a similar sort of chord to the Indian diaspora there? What are their thoughts on it?
Well, Sakal, people are eagerly waiting for the Prime Minister here. They have been rehearsing for the big day that will be, of course, tomorrow. And of course, we can see glimpses of India here, Kathak, and of course, a lot of people know Hindi here. Our team, engineer Pradeep Gadotra, and of course camera person Surendra, and I myself have been staying here for almost 2 days now, and we didn't face any problem here because people know Hindi, they can understand Hindi, and we went to the cultural center here and people are learning Hindi. So Hindi is one of the languages, in the sense people do understand it. You go to the school, go to the shops here, to the local bazaars here in Tashkent. People are listening to Hindi songs, Hindi music. They know Hindi movies, and of course it's not from today. It's almost decades old. Raj Kapoor is the base is one of the biggest link between Indian movies and Uzbekistan. They have been singing Mera Juta Hai Japani and old Hindi movies here. So a lot of diaspora connect, and of course people are really willing to know about India, and of course with Prime Minister Narendra Modi coming, they are eagerly waiting to see him and of course meet the visiting Indian Prime Minister.
Very, very briefly, the report that showed the popularity of yoga there in Uzbekistan. I mean, India's soft power projection there in Uzbekistan, especially in Tashkent. So there is a lot of India living in the hearts of Indians there in Tashkent, isn't it? Very briefly.
Yes, a lot of lot of India living in the heart of Indians there. Of course, you summed up in a short manner. But of course, yoga, especially after the International Yoga Day, is getting more popular here. A lot of people coming to the Indian Intercultural Center. That's the Lal Bahadur Center for Indian Culture here in Tashkent, and going for yoga classes. And the center itself is providing free yoga classes to the people here. So India's soft power being projected here, but it's not only soft power, but it's also the hard power. People really keen for the bilateral trade to increase, and of course there are obviously attempts to increase that. A lot of businessmen here. India has already signed a DDTA with Uzbekistan, and of course the opening of the north-south corridor, which will of course connect Mumbai to Moscow, will go through Central Asia, and of course Central Asia is a mineral resource area, so a lot of mineral resources can help in development of the cities and countries here, and of course back home in India.
All right, we wrap it up there, Sidhant. We'll get back to you later in the day for more inputs.